Welcome to Biology My Passion. I'm Soumya Harikrishna. Today we will discuss Darwin's theories of evolution. Next prominent theory on origin of evolution is Darwin's theory of natural selection, put forward in the year 1858. Though we say Darwin's theory, it was actually a combined effort of two different scientists, one Charles Robert Darwin and Alfred Russel Wallace. Both were English naturalists. I have mentioned about Wallace in the previous video. When Darwin went on a voyage to Galapagos Island for 5 years, meanwhile Alfred Wallace was also doing his voyage in Archipelagos Island in the Indonesia. So he also collected lot of evidences. When Darwin came back after his voyage 5 years, he started conducting several experiments in the field of this selection, natural selection, because that was his finding. But he was not very sure whether his finding was true. That time, Alfred Wallace actually had the same kind of observations in Archipelagos Island. But later, he got bedridden by malaria. During that time, he had an insight where natural selection or the new species is forming from the already existing species by the selection of nature. So he got it and he thought of sharing the idea with Charles Darwin. So he wrote a letter to Darwin stating all his findings that natural selection is the driving force behind evolution. Darwin was so excited to get this because he was uncertain about his finding. But one more person who had done the voyage and observations proved the same theory means what? It is absolutely correct. So, the initial paper was published in both their names, Darwin and Wallace theory of natural selection. Then later, Darwin expanded this idea in his book called On the Origin of Species by Means of Natural Selection, and it was published in the year 1859. So, both these scientists, whether it is Charles Darwin or Alfred Wallace, both of them were influenced by the principles of population by another scientist called Malthus. He was an economist. According to Malthus, the population is growing in an exponential rate. Exponential means what? X to the power of n. So it is multiplying at a faster rate. So if you plot a graph, it is going like this. Population is increasing this way. Whereas the production is in an arithmetic way. Means x plus x plus x plus this way. So in this case always there is a gap between the demand and the production. So this theory influenced Charles Darwin and Alfred Wallace to come to the conclusion of natural selection or nature selects the best. We will now discuss the postulates of Darwin's theory of natural selection. So it goes by 7 points. First is overproduction or rapid multiplication. That means whenever resources are available, organisms will multiply at its maximum. For example, if it is unicellular organisms, we know they multiply faster. But if we allow their growth, what happens? Their number will increase drastically within a short period of time. Even animals with a longer lifespan, like an elephant also, if they continuously reproduce to their maximum, their number will become very huge. So that is called a rapid multiplication or overpopulation. Next, limited resources. Unlimited resources is actually a hypothetical situation. Resources are always limited in nature, or nature can support only a particular number of organisms. So when resources are limited, what happens? There will start competition. So when you are preparing for competitive exams like NEET, why do you have to struggle this much, or why do you have to put in a lot of effort? Because the number of students appearing for the exams is very high, but at the same time the number of seats available are less. That's why competition. So that is competition, or we call it as struggle for existence. Each organism has to struggle in order to survive. Means here what? They are not competing for the seat, but they are competing for the basic requirements like a space, in the shelter, and also food. Competition can be of 3 types: intraspecific, interspecific, and environment. If there is a competition between the same type of organisms, it is called intraspecific. That means if 2 snakes are competing for getting 1 frog, that is intraspecific. Interspecific means what? Between 2 organisms. Like a tiger is chasing a deer. The tiger and deer, there is a competition, that is interspecific. Or there can be environmental competitions as well. Then next, variation. So when there is a struggle for existence or competition, some organisms will undergo some variations or changes which are favorable to them to adapt to the new situation. So like some of you become very hardworking. You don't waste even a single minute of your life and you are very focused and you work hard for your goal. And that those people will succeed. So it is actually variation happen to your habit, right? So the same way here also variation will happen. Then now next is variation. So those who are adapted will get better variations. Then survival of the fittest or natural selection. So the who will be selected at the end? The one who are having favorable variations will be selected. Who will select that? Nature. So Darwin called it as natural selection, whereas survival of the fittest was a terminology by a scientist called Herbert Spencer. Then inheritance of useful variation. Those who got the useful variation, that will be inherited to the next generation. And ultimately that will lead to formation of a new species, or that is called evolution. When Darwin proposed his postulates on theory of natural selection, many people supported it. And around 40 years they were supporting Darwin's theories, and that period is called the Romantic period, where there were evidences in support of Darwin's theory. So the main evidences are, first is artificial selection. That means we know that artificial selection is done in plants or cultivated crops and animals for past several thousand years. So these breeding programs are successfully done in order to produce a new variety or a new species having all the desired traits. So if human beings can do it within a short period of time, producing new varieties, can't nature do this over a period of millions of years with a lot of resources? That is the argument here. So second is mimicry or protective coloration. We know some organisms are well adapted to camouflage in their surrounding. So especially a stick insect or a chameleon, they can change their color and also they will get adapted or protected from the predator. So that is actually a kind of natural selection, or nature must have favored their variation. Next is position of nectaries in flowers in parallel with the length of the proboscis of the pollinating insect. If the nectary of a flower is very deep and if the insect is not having a long proboscis, it won't be able to take it. So always the pollinating agent's proboscis is parallel to the length of the nectaries or the position of the nectaries. That is also natural selection only. Then industrial melanism in England. This is a classical example of natural selection. We know in 1850s, the industrial revolution started in England. So before 1850s, on the tree trunks, there used to be two types of moths. Dark winged moths and white winged moths. Number of white moths always more than the number of dark colored moth. There was a reason for that. The tree trunks were almost covered by white colored lichen. So if white colored surface, white moths and dark moths are sitting, for the predator, they can easily spot the dark colored one because in the contrasting background. So this was the condition before industrial revolution. But after 1920, when the same experiment was conducted to see the number, they found the dark winged moths were more in number than the white winged. That means the conditions reversed. Because now after industrial revolution, air pollution occurred. We know lichens are indicators of air pollution, so they disappeared. Since they disappeared, the dark colored tree trunk was visible, and on that tree trunk lot of soot got deposited because of the exhaust from the factories. So now white moth if sitting there, predator can easily spot. So dark moth got benefited, or nature favored the dark moth over a period of time, gradually changing their number. So this is called an industrial melanism. Melanized moth all got selected. Melanized means the dark winged one. Or apart from this, we can say also the examples of insects or mosquitoes resistant to DDT. We know that DDT, we used to kill them before, but now they are resistant to DDT because some of them which were resistant to DDT already got selected over a period of time when we started using it as an insecticide. or the antibiotic resistance in bacteria. That is also some resistant varieties are there, but they got selected over a period of time when we started using antibiotics for killing them. So that is actually anthropogenic action or action by human beings. So these are evidences in support of Darwin's theory, that is called a romantic period. In romantic period, people found evidences to support natural selection. When it came to agnostic period, they started finding evidences against natural selection. That is, first one is inheritance of small variations. According to theory of natural selection, so variations start with the small organs or the rudimentary form, and later if they are found to be useful will be elaborated or expanded. But what about the wings? Wing is a structure which can be useful once it is fully developed. So this argument of Darwin was proved wrong. Then second is about vestigial organs. According to natural selection, only the organs which are doing good or useful will be selected. But vestigial organs are still selected, they are not disappearing. Then over specialization means the kind of antlers of deer or the tusk of elephants. They are selected over a period of time, but they are not having any particular use to the organism. And last is no explanation for variations. Though Darwin told variation is leading to evolution or natural selection, he could not give the reason for variation. So these are all the theories against the natural selection. Then to explain the transmission of characters from generation to generation, Darwin came up with a new theory, that is pangenesis theory, in the year 1868. According to this theory, every somatic cells produce gemmules, or these germ cells are the collection of these gemmules coming from different somatic cells. This theory also completely got discarded. So followed by this came the next type, that is called a neo-Darwinism. Means the scientists tried to prove Darwin's theories or by giving more evidences. According to neo-Darwinism, both mutation and natural selection are responsible for evolution. So we have two more theories to discuss that we will do in the next video. Hope you like my videos. If you like my lessons, please like, share and subscribe to my channel, Biology My Passion.